It is Zurimaru. So I have finally gotten around to making the video now that Love Live Superstar Season 3 has concluded, and I have gone back and rewatched Season 1 through 3 so I could faithfully make a official Liella ranking video. Before I start it, I do just want to claim that I know that there are definitely going to be some disagreements with my rankings, and I just want to put that I do not dislike a single girl in Liella. That I love all of them so much, but for the ones in the lower half of my rankings, I definitely tend to have more problems with than the ones in the upper half of my rankings, and I will get into all of that, and I wanted to take the time to be able to really talk about why I ranked the girls as I did, as Liella is my favorite group. And we are starting off with a strong one. All the way down in my 11th place would be Chisato Arashi, or also known as Chichan. I did not think that I would have one of the original 5 all the way down in last place, but here we are. Even since season 1, I'd say that Chisato has always kind of been my least favorite when it came out of the OG 5. I think that kind of happened in season 2. Season 1, I did like her a little bit more, but she has always been in my lower half when it came to the rankings within her own grade. All the way back in season 1, Chisato started off in the series as this real airheaded, goofy girl, which I really did enjoy her, but she also did have her mature moments, like when she was teaching Kanan and Kuku how to dance for the first time. And it was a really good balance for her character, and it's something that I definitely enjoyed seeing from her, and I really don't have anything bad to say about her at all in season 1. I think season 1 was her peak season, in my personal opinion. I think that is when her character was best utilized throughout the entire show. Season 2, on the other hand, is when there was a stark difference in the way she presented herself, and you were going to hear me say this about a lot of the seniors, or honestly all of them, if I'm being completely honest, but I feel like Chisato and Sumire specifically got it the worst. And it was, for Chisato, it almost felt like they were trying to Nozomi code her, if that makes sense. Like, she became this figure that was supposed to kind of like oversee the group and make sure that, everything was going right, and it felt like they were she just wasn't allowed to kind of be that goofy, airheaded character that I really fell in love with. And it was kind of sad to see that go away. Don't get me wrong, she had those moments, but they definitely decreased and did not happen as often as they did in season 1. And I'm a huge advocate for character development, but there really wasn't any character development done for her to kind of stop being, as silly and as much of an airhead as she was. And you can argue that when she became the president of the school idol club, that could have been her development, but I think the issue is that it kind of started before she became the president for the idol club. Season 3, in all honesty, is when I got a lot more indifferent about her, as before the season had started, she was still in my top 5, as my original rankings were kind of divided between the year groups, and that's why I'm so thankful for season 3 for being able to get such a look in on them. But if there was anyone who really needed an episode, I did feel like Chisato should have gotten at least one that was separate from Kanan or leading the school idol club, but one solely reflected on her, which she didn't get. And all I could really think about her was that she kind of became a very boring character. She only ever supported the same thing, and one of the reasons why I really lost interest in watching her was because whenever anything would happen, she just seemed to always know or just believe that Kanan would make things right, and it really got boring to watch from her because I wanted to see something else. But I will also say that Season 3 did bring back some of her goofiness, although even more rare than seen in Season 2, but it was still nice to see. So I do still absolutely adore her character, and just as many not great things that I can say about her, there are also many wonderful things I can say about her, as in she definitely has one of my favorite singing voices in the whole group, which I don't typically like the airy, light voices, but Nako's voice, I think, is absolutely amazing, and I really do love Chisato with all of my heart and soul. In 10th place, we have Kinako Sakurakoji, and I do really hurt putting her this low because, in my personal opinion, I think she had one of the best introductions out of any of the Liella girls, and it's just like they kind of used that as her only means. She had a good intro episode, and that was about it. After that, she became less involved with the plot, unimportant, especially when Season 3 hit, was where it was the worst, so it kind of became a lack of characterization, and she didn't get an episode until like the third to last episode of Season 3, really. And even that, it made me enjoy Ren more than it made me enjoy Kinako, which really sucks because I think she's a very lovely character, but I also just feel like they kind of forgot about her. And unfortunately, I also don't really know much about her character to put her above any of the other girls who I do have a stronger feelings for, thanks to them having good screen time, and unfortunately this is the Love Live staff fault at the end of the day. It was especially frustrating since Kinako is supposed to be the leader of the second gen girls, and it really feels like that was honestly kind of stolen from her, right under her, from May, as May is normally the one who takes charge, and it's not that the leader of second gen can't be someone like Kinako, but at every turn where Kinako should have been the one to step up and try and claim leadership, it was kind of taken from her, which is very unfortunate, and I do feel like it butchered her character in the wrong way, and I just think that they really lost a lot of opportunities to use her character and give her a lot of character growth, because that one episode was not enough to really show her, or well, show us all of the qualities that she has, and it's really sad because just rewatching Season 2 made me realize how much I really did love Kinako, and how much Season 3 just kind of really threw her character out the window, if I'm being completely honest. And in 9th place, we have Sumire Hyena. I already know that I'm going to get a lot of people who disagree with me on this, but Sumire is quite honestly the character that I have the most issues when it comes to Liella, and I'm going to do my best to be able to go into all of them, but as I do want to keep each ranking mildly short, I will try and summarize most of the issues that I have with her. Much like Chisato, I believe that Superstar Season 1 was Sumire's best season because it was the only season that I felt like Sumire was actually her own character. And what I mean by that is what really ruined her for me and kind of dropped her down in my rankings a lot was the force of, well, her ship with Cuckoo Tang. And it was simply because it's almost as if her purpose had just pretty much become being a side piece or ship bait for Cuckoo, which I just don't like characters like that. In season 1, I believe her struggle and her song Nonfiction was purely about her. It was about Sumire. It was exciting to see how Sumire felt about herself, and then the one person who had refused from the very beginning to really acknowledge her, which was Cuckoo, who finally did. It was fun to see. I really enjoyed the two of their dynamic in season 1. But when season 2 came out, and honestly, staff kind of realized how popular the two of them were, much like many of the Love Live shows, they ended up really forcing the two of them to always be together, but even worse than before. And it really bothered me because in season 2, anytime Sumire had anything important to say or anything happening, it wasn't about Sumire, it was only about Cuckoo, which it just bothered me because it kind of felt like she had lost her purpose as a character. I really enjoyed her character in season 1 because she kind of felt like a Nico 2.0, and for those of you who've watched my Muse ranking video, Nico is my best Muse girl. So it was very disheartening to kind of see that she really crawled back in. It was very annoying to see her, but my biggest complaint about it was that she didn't talk to anyone else in the group. The only person she ever interacted with was Cuckoo. The only person she was ever concerned with was Cuckoo. She was never concerned about herself. She was never concerned about any of the other members, and that's kind of what did it for me, was the oversaturation of Sumire and Cuckoo when Sumire should have been a very individual character, and she wasn't. And this was a complaint I had about Shiki and Mei, but Shiki and Mei fixed that problem. Sumire didn't. I feel like she really lost her purpose. And it really explains because in season 3, I'm sorry, but she had little to no screen time in season 3 because she had finished her purpose in season 2, which was making sure Cuckoo didn't leave. And after that, she just wasn't important anymore. And I hate saying that about her because I really do love Sumire as a character, but I liked the character she was in season 2 when she was a character about herself. And I was really let down in season 3 when it came to Sumire because in season 3, episode 1, when she was actually getting upset and defensive because someone made an insult about her, I was very excited because I thought that, it felt like she was getting a bit of her spark back, but was very quickly let down as she pretty much had nothing else to say throughout the rest of the season until a small little spotlight in Cuckoo's episode. That was very disheartening because it felt like the same thing in season 2. The only thing that I can give her is that at the very least she actually spoke with her fellow members in season 3. She was actually interacting with them. It was nice to see her interacting with Kinako. I loved seeing her with Shiki, and I was really happy that her and Margaret did interact a fair bit. I wish that we could have actually seen them speak more, but they were together a lot. So it was nice to see Sumire with other members. But at that point, the damage was already done. It's just very sad that she was reduced to pretty much Cuckoo's girlfriend and nothing more. And that's my personal thoughts on her, is the fact that she doesn't really have a separate character. And you can argue with me all you want, but that's how I truly feel, because I think she had such a strong character in the first season that it stuck with so many people, but she really lost it in season 2 and 3. And that's just my personal opinion on her. And if any of you guys are trying to combat this, then I ask that you be civil about it in the comments. But this is just my opinion. That's not to say you can disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine, but that is absolutely how I feel, and it really sucks because I really did like Sumire in season 1, and I really wish that she had more of an actual character rather than just a support role when she really isn't meant to be a support character, in my opinion. And in number 8 is Natsumi Onitsuka. I surprised myself with how low she was because I have always been a mass defender of Natsumi, as she used to actually be my favorite out of the second years, and I'm not really sure what happened, but kind of near the end I had more of an appreciation for the other two, which I will go into when their time comes. But for Natsumi, I really don't have anything bad to say. I absolutely adored her in season 2. She was that gag character that I feel like all shows kind of needed, and regardless of how you personally feel about her little money-hungry, little grubby imp personality never bothered me because I was totally on board. I'm just like, you go get rich, girl. You got this. Like, congratulations for you. And I really adored her in season 2. When season 3, it's not like I stopped adoring her, but I definitely did wish they used her more upbeat personality, which they just didn't really use. She was honestly more depressed during the 3rd season than anything, which was really sad because what I love about her is her impish personality, and I kind of felt like a lot of that went away. Obviously, they wanted to make her a little more serious, as it was a very sensitive topic with Tamari, her sister, now being against her pretty much, which I am glad that they did take it seriously, but I do wish that we did get to see a little bit more of that money-hungry side, or just even an impish personality. And I will never forgive myself for putting her this low, because I love her so much. And I'm really not sure how Shiki honestly surpassed her, but I guess we'll see when I start talking about why I place Shiki above her. In 7th place is Shiki Wakana. Shiki used to be honestly my least favorite when it came to the 2nd gen girls, and that was really because she had a very limited amount of screen time, even in season 2, and when she was on screen, it was either merely just gag or shitbait, which I didn't care for. When season 3 came along and it was revealed that she was going to be getting a character-focused episode, I was super excited and really happy to potentially learn more about her. And I was very happy with the episode, and I felt like it was a very unique way to go about, is to tell you pretty much that you don't have to be shining in the spotlight. You can still be important even if you're just a supporting role, which I thought was very sweet, and it did make me cherish and appreciate Shiki a lot more than I already did. And just throughout the span of season 3, she became a lot more lovable for me, and she ended up going past Natsumi for me, which really surprised me, but it came to a point where I was so entertained and really happy to see Shiki on the screen every time, and I enjoyed a lot of the scenes that I saw her in. So while she didn't do enough for her to surpass any of the other girls for me, she definitely has become even more of a cherished character of mine, and I cannot wait to see her in any potential movie, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I am super excited because I absolutely adore Shiki. And in number 6th is Tamari Onitsuka. Why don't we start with what I love about Tamari? The first one is that she brings a lot of charm and energy to the group. Her personality stands out with her hardworking yet somber nature, and it definitely adds a lot of value to Liella's dynamic. Vocally, she has a very sweet and quite a unique tone that I feel like really helps in specific songs. Like Aikotaba, I think that she definitely had the best tone in that specific song, and her efforts to really merge into Liella, especially as a newer member, really deserve recognition, as I felt like she was doing a fantastic job at building her presence within the team, and the same can of course go for Saku, her voice actress. While I admire her work ethic, however, I feel like her character hasn't resonated with me as deeply as some of the others. It could be due to limited screen time or even fewer standout moments that feel uniquely Tamari. Sometimes it takes a while for new members to fully find their groove, and I think she's still kind of in that phase, unfortunately. And when it comes to performance, while Tamari is talented, I feel other members bring a bit more flair that captures my attention. This does not mean she lacks any talent, and far from it in my personal opinion. It's just that the competition within Liella is already incredibly strong, and some members naturally leave a more lasting impression on me right now. However, I am very excited to see how Tamari grows, and ranking someone lower doesn't mean that they're not amazing. It just means that they're still doing more and still carving out more unique placings, and I'm sure she'll get even higher in my rankings as we get more songs and we see more from her voice actress and any future activities from the group. And this is a bit of a side note, but Tamari has probably my favorite Liella character design. I'm not sure what it is about her, but as soon as I saw her character preview, I just immediately fell in love with the look, and I could not wait to get to know her. But that is just a side rant. And another thing that I do want to put is that the moment where she asked Kanan for her ribbon, I just thought that was probably one of the cutest moments we had seen from Tamari, and I thought that it was really adorable. And I do wish we could have seen more of another side between her and Natsumi, because I will say I wasn't fully engaged when it came to her and Natsumi's conflict, and I do really wish that they explained it a little bit more, because it seemed more like, this might hurt her in the moment, but she'll feel better in the future, I guess. But I really do wish they explained Tamari's thought process more, because there's still a big question mark as to how she even got to that thought process in the first place. But other than that, I absolutely loved her this season, and hopefully we get a movie so we can see more of Tamari, as I feel like if there's any reason we need a movie or an OVA, it is to see more of Tamari, because I feel like compared to Margaret and Kanan, she was kind of put on a bit of a back burner, but she definitely got a highlight this season, which I'm very happy she did. Next up is number 5, Ren Husky. Something I really like about Ren is that she has this elegant and very refined aura that really sets her apart from her more high maintenance and wacky group. Her backstory of going from a more or less reluctant party to fully embracing her role as an idol is genuinely very inspiring, regardless of how you feel about how her story went in season 1. I really admire her and the growth that she's shown as a character, as well as her commitment and sense of responsibility toward Liella, are things that I've always just really loved about her. And vocally, Ren has a very smooth and sophisticated tone, and something I really do want to bring up is that I love that they are letting Nagi use a much more powerful voice, shown in songs such as Daisuke Full Power and Let's Be One. I think that it's awesome to be able to hear Ren sing a different way, and less airy and less high, and more those really raw, powerful notes, which I love to hear from Nagi. She also brings a much more classy show to performances, and she makes it very graceful as things, including as her little twirl in Dazzling game, which was very cute, and it just made it look really nice. The reason I put Ren at number 5 and not higher is because it's really about personal connection and overall impact compared to other members. While Ren is undeniably talented and has a strong personality, I feel like she sometimes blends into the background in group settings. She has her standout moments, much like all of the members, but they're not as frequent or as striking as those from the members I ranked higher. And it doesn't help that the writers seem to sometimes forget she's a part of the original 5-member group, and that does make it very sad that she does seem to get forgotten a lot and left out whenever the original 5 are ever together. And obviously a reason about this is that she didn't really have a character that she personally was connected to. She was oftentimes separated from the group itself, and I like to call this conundrum the separated characters, and I think each group had their variation. Muse, I can't really think of one, but Aqua definitely did, which, in my personal opinion, was Rico. I mean, when was there really a time she actually had a conversation with another character that wasn't Chika or Yo or Yoshiko? And unfortunately, Ren is just the separated character, but from her entire group, and didn't really interact with someone other than when they needed her to, like during her Spotlight episode, which I'm so thankful she got one. And as a gamer myself, I was really happy that Ren was a gamer, and I think that it's still one of the best episodes in season 2 was her highlight episode with May. And it's one of the reasons why she is still so high in my list is because of that reason. And she kept up with the goofiness. She didn't really drop down in it, which is why I love her so much and why she really locked herself into my rankings pretty well in season 2. And in number 4 is Mei Yoname. So I'm going to start off with why she is so special, and that would be her slightly tomboyish nature, which is very refreshing when it comes to the rest of the group, and how she has a very grounded energy that really contrasts with the rest of the group, and it also makes me notice her a lot more. Her balance of toughness and vulnerability is incredibly relatable, but one of her most admirable traits is how supportive she is of her fellow members. Mei has this very quiet but steadfast way of showing her care for her group. She's not always the loudest or the most affectionate, but her actions speak volumes, and it's those type of characters that I really do love. We're not hearing her talk about how much she loves her members or how much she cares for them or how she helps them. We see her helping them. We see her loving them. We see her really caring from them, and that's something that I really do love. And whether it's encouraging someone who's feeling down or helping others overcome their challenges like Shiki, or simply being a reliable presence like she is with Natsumi and Kinako, Mei's support helps strengthen the team's bond, and you can genuinely tell she wants everyone to exceed, and she works hard to create a very positive outcome for the group. And a good example I want to put of this is one of my favorite Mei moments. It's very small, but as in season 2, episode 3, the minute Kinako had officially joined the group, and it was at their first performance, and Mei being a Liella superfan, we see her with all of their light sticks, and she just has a yellow light stick supporting Kinako. This, as far as a lot of people were really concerned, was, at least to the fan watchers, was Kinako's first ever actual live performance. And seeing Mei have her light stick was very sweet, and it's something that you have to notice. You don't hear her talk about how much she appreciates her being part of the group. We get to see it with her own actions, and it was the same thing in season 3, episode 3, is when Kanan joined with Margaret and Tamari, and they made Tomo Kanate? Nuella. I'm just going to call them Nuella from now on. And we see Mei with Margaret and Tamari's light sticks. It's just this out support which is just so, it's very nice to see, and it makes me love her character because she is so happy and supportive to just be supporting someone, if that makes sense. And like I said, one of my favorite moments from May is still probably in season 2, episode 2 and 3, is when she was just trying to help Kinako, and it was one of the best moments, and it's something that's just stuck with me and for her character the entire ways throughout. And we saw it again in season 3, episode 4, or no, episode 3, Shiki's episode, and it was very lovely to see, and it's something that I will always appreciate about May, and it's something I always will love about May. And in number 3 is Ween Margaret. And the reason why she's so high, despite this technically being her first season of her actually being in the show, is that when it comes down to it, I think she's just a well-written character. She had an incredible character growth throughout this season alone. When we're first introduced to her, she's portrayed as this almost perfect, this, I'd say even godlike figure, poised, talented, and seemingly untouchable, especially when we think of season 2, episode 3, how she one-manned against Liella, beat them as a middle schooler, and then went on and beat Sunny Passion in the later episodes of season 2. But as we get to see more of her, and we see more of a personal side of her, we get to see a much more vulnerable side. And notice that she struggles with self-doubt and the pressure to maintain her perfect image, and just watching her really confront that ideology has been, it's been very rewarding, and it paid off because it was so beautiful to see, and it's something that made me really admire her and enjoy her character even more. Her journey of opening up and just really connecting with her fellow members, that wasn't just Canon, that wasn't just Tamari, and it, personally in my opinion, was probably one of the most compelling arcs that Liella's had. And initially she might seem distant or overly focused on achieving excellence or beating her opponents, but she learns to trust and rely on others, and she becomes a much warmer and much more relatable character. And for me, it's really her willingness to grow and her wanting to embrace the idea of teamwork, and it shows just how far she's come. I mean, even in episode 2 alone, we really saw that she was totally open to forming a team. Even though she wanted to beat Liella on her own, she was willing to form an entirely different group, and she does really warm up to the idea of having a group, especially when Kanan joins. And performance-wise, Margaret's talent is just undeniable. She is one of the group's strongest vocalists, if not then the strongest, and her ability to really convey emotion through her singing is very remarkable and should be respected, and it's one of the reasons why I really do love her so much. And while I do adore Margaret's talent and growth, I do feel like she still tends to hold onto a bit of her perfectionist tendencies, which can make her seem more reserved compared to the other members I ranked higher. And I'd love to see her continue to have more playful sides of herself, which we saw a lot of, and those were definitely some of my favorite Margaret moments. And she really seems to shine the most when they happen. But that being said, Margaret's growth is one of the reasons she stands out so much to me, and ranking her at this high just reflects how much I appreciate her as a character and a performer, and I cannot imagine Liella without her anymore. And in number 2 is Cuckoo Tang. I'm going to start with Cuckoo's personality. For starters, she's just such a ball of enthusiasm, and her love for idols is just... It's downright contagious, and from the very beginning, Cuckoo has been one of the driving forces behind Liella's formation and success. Her dedication to chasing her dreams and helping others do the same is one of the things I admire most about her. And moving on, one of my favorite parts about Cuckoo is honestly her relationship with Canon. Their bond is so heartfelt and inspiring, especially in the first season. And Cuckoo's unwavering belief in Kenan is what really kickstarted Liella in the first place, and seeing how she encourages Kenan to embrace her talents is just so touching, and it's one of the things that made me really love her character was the mutual growth that the two of them experience as friends, as teammates, and it makes their dynamic one of the best in the series, and in my personal opinion, the best. And Cuckoo's energy complements Kenan's more reserved nature, creating a very essential balance, which in my opinion is the heart of Liella. But what really impressed me was how she was able to build such meaningful dynamics with almost everyone in the group. Her friendship with Chisato brought out a much more mature, more grounded side of her. Her bond with Sumire added more humor and a little bit more tension, and her interactions with Ren showcased a much more supportive and inspiring nature, much like Kanan. Cuckoo seemed like the glue that brought different personalities together, and it made her one of the most versatile and engaging members, in my opinion, and that's why she had such a strong hold on me since season 1. But that's also why season 2 felt like such a missed opportunity for Cuckoo's character. While her relationships with Sumire and to a lesser extent Natsumi were highlighted, it felt like her connections with Kanan, Chisato, and Ren were completely abandoned. This shift really narrowed Cuckoo's focus, making her interactions feel a lot more one-dimensional. And any interaction she had with any of her other members in season 2 felt very surface level and not at all important. It seemed like the show prioritized fan demand for the Cuckoo and Sumire ship over maintaining the broad range of relationships that made Cuckoo so compelling in season 1. And while I enjoy their dynamic, it felt like the writers sacrificed her depth and individuality to cater to the pairing. Fortunately, however, season 3 did a lot to bring Cuckoo's character back into balance. Her arc this season was such a breath of fresh air, as it allowed her to step back into the spotlight as an individual. We got to see Cuckoo really struggling with new challenges and reflecting on her own dreams, which is something that Love Live's never really touched on before. And we also got to see her discover her passion for being an idol. The show brought back the fire and the drive that I feel like made Cuckoo such a standout in season 1, although not to the large degree as she was. And it gave her the space to grow and shine in ways that felt authentic and meaningful. Her relationship also felt more well-rounded in season 3. While her bond with Sumire remained strong, we got glimpses of her reconnecting with the rest of the group, which reminded me of how she initially tied everyone together. This balance of personal growth and group dynamics made her arc one of the highlights of the seasons for me. And performance-wise, of course, Cuckoo continues to amaze me as we see that her stage presence is very noticeable, and she has this incredible ability to really channel so much energy and a lot of emotion into her performances. And it's just whenever she shows up on screen, it's like you can really feel the passion for being an idol every time she steps onto the stage. And it's a huge part of what makes her such an unforgettable member of Liella. And at the end of the day, Cuckoo's journey has been one of the most inspiring of the group. And you'd think that with all of this connection to her, why isn't she number 1? Well, in the end, it really comes down to personal preference. And in my number 1 spot is Kanan Shibuya. And as the group leader, I know she is not the most bold choice to pick, but she is my favorite, and her character growth and her personality has just been my absolute favorite in Liella. First, Kanan's character arc is one of the most relatable in the series. It's that when we're first introduced to her, she's got stage fright, and it's a fear and a relatability that makes her feel incredibly human. Especially unlike the other main characters in the franchise who just seem naturally confident and naturally able to get up on stage despite them never really doing anything like that in the past. Kanan starts as someone hesitant to even step onto that stage, and her journey to overcoming that fear and finding her voice is just, it really shows her resilience. And it's the kind of story that really resonated with me as someone who did doubt themselves a lot growing up. And even now I still have a lot of doubts, but I've worked hard to push past those. And another reason why she is my absolute favorite is her leadership style. She isn't the loud or the commanding type of leader, but instead she leads with kindness, with understanding, and she has a genuine desire to see everyone around her succeed. And not only that, but she's so well-rounded in her group is that she has the ability to form meaningful bonds with all of her members. With Cuckoo, she shares a relationship that is just iconic for one, and it really defines the group early's days as they inspire and they support one another through challenges. Her friendship with Chisato is deeply emotional, and it's with their shared past, and it's strengthened by Kenan's unwavering encouragement for Chisato to pursue her dreams. When it comes to Sumire, Kanan can act as a steady presence, and she encourages her to shine in her own unique way. And Kanan shows an incredible patience and understanding with Ren, who ends up being able to help her embrace her role and embrace being a school idol. And of course, this is also the case with the newer members, Kinako, Natsumi, Shiki, Mei, not to mention Tamari. And Margaret and Kanan's relationship is also very notable as she helps Margaret feel accepted and valued, and this really demonstrates her ability to be able to bridge different personalities and backgrounds. She has a special relationship with each and every one of her members, and it doesn't feel surface level, it doesn't feel small, each and every one of them feels so important. And the other reason that Kanan ranks so highly for me is her talent. And this stems from her stunning vocals to her stage presence. And in my personal opinion, Kanan really embodies everything an idol is. Her voice is one of my absolute favorites, and I didn't really think it was possible until getting into Love Live, but you can really hear their passion every time they sing, and especially in songs like Tiny Stars and Mirai Yoho Hallelujah are perfect examples of how Kanan uses her talents to not just perform well, but to really inspire those around her. And I could give even more examples in the shows of why she's my favorite, like how as the series progresses, she never really loses sight of her humility, and she evolves into a confident leader without losing the qualities that made her so lovable. And season 3 in particular really highlights this. But the real reason why Kanan is at my number 1 is because of the very beginning. The very beginning, she was the one I was always paying attention to. She was the one that I always noticed. And it was in their very first song, Hajimari wa Kimi no Sora. The minute Kanan started singing, I knew that I had found one of my favorite groups ever, and it was nonstop listening, and it was this very unique feeling, and I just remember always noticing her first, and that's why she's my number one. And again, I could give even more words about what she's done in the show, but at the end of the day, it's because she's my favorite character, and she's the one that I look forward to the most.